Ah, that sacred time is among us again. The days get shorter, campfires all over the place. I get to break out this old, very faded hoodie from my closet that I got in like 2008 from a friend who left it at my house and then stopped being my friend. And then this year realized that, well, it matches my hair kinda. So that's dope. Autumn is wonderful, but what else is wonderful is the Playtest Summoner. What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to another episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit. Indeed, today we are cracking open the Secrets of Magic Playtest, taking a look at who kind of got the long end of the stick on this one. The old Summoner, optimizing it, building it, breaking it down, breaking it apart. If you're liking what you're seeing, remember to like, subscribe, and ding the bell. Stay caught up on all your Pathfinder 1st and 2nd edition content. Further, remember that patronage at any tier gets you a Google Sheet this thing is put together on if you'd like to take a spin for yourself, or hey, at higher tiers. We did start Extinction Curse 5 days ago, I can't see anything with my glasses off, in 4 hours when that campaign starts at session 1. I'd love to have you start more 2E games, but enough rambling. Let's hit it. Okie dokie. So, the Summoner of Pathfinder 1st Edition was really good. There's no way around that one. So good, they had to nerf it in Unchained. Turns out the ability to spam a lot of little monsters, have one big monster, and get spells a level earlier than everyone else that's real good. So thematically, the Summoner has taken a pretty big change. If you were looking for how to spam a bunch of little guys on the board, this isn't the video. Honestly, I think you're looking more at like Primal Summoner into Beastmaster, maybe some Conjuration Wizard or something like that if you want to go that route. Rather, the Summoner this time is much more focused on their eidolon. Now, the eidolon no longer has that big pool of evolution points that you build off of, but in its place, we're looking at different casting traditions and a flavorful eidolon from each. I know I said last week I was going to do a Dragon Summoner, and Dragon Summoner looked really cool. Still does, but having recently played a lot of Shadow of War, having recently slayed a lot of folks as Talion and Celebrimbor, although I'm very much not a fan of microtransactions, loot boxes, pay to win, so on and so forth, I am a fan of that character's relationship, and it's got Summoner written all over it in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today we are indeed building around the Devotion Phantom Eidolon. However it is your Summoner has chosen to manifest this thing, our eidolon is a lost soul unable to escape the mortal world due to a strong sense of duty, an undying devotion, or a need to complete an important task, aka a need to campaign. Most phantom eidolons are humanoid with a spectral or ectoplasmic appearance, though some take far stranger forms. Your link with your eidolon prevents them from succumbing to corruption and undeath, but it is a ghost, so all of the grognards are all the way back in that keep on the borderlands just shrieking at this point, and I kind of love that. In any case, it gives us the occult casting tradition, like bards. Medicine and occultism as trained skills, and basically a big flying ghost to protect us. You'll see that its attacks are primary and secondary, and then you get suggested, like, this is probably what it looks like. I really like the notion of, like, here is a sword, it hits you for 1d8 points of untyped damage. Okay, that one I'm a little unclear on. I might have missed that somewhere where it says what the damage type of the creature is. I don't know, probably on the safe side to call it bludgeoning. Of course, out the gate, our ghosty boy gets the dutiful strike reaction. Its trigger a foe within 15 feet of you, hits with a strike, and deals damage to you, the Summoner, with your eidolon adjacent to you, because remember, you split your actions amongst yourself and your eidolon. Your eidolon instinctively flashes with ectoplasmic energy, allowing them to make a melee attack against a foe who dares to harm you. Your eidolon makes a strike with a melee unarmed attack against a triggering foe, even if that foe isn't within your eidolon's reach. At 7th level, your eidolon gets a +2 circumstance bonus to saves against mental effects, and if they roll a success, they get a crit success. If you have shared resolve and your eidolon rolls a crit failure, they get a failure instead. And at 17th, your eidolon gets a dedication aura, which has the abjuration, aura, and occult traits. Whenever one of your eidolon's allies within the aura takes damage, reduce that damage by up to your eidolon's con mod. You lose a number of HP equal to half the amount by which the eidolon reduces the damage, and since you and your eidolon are sharing that big D10 hit dice, this may eventually add up, but that's why a lot of our build is to take care of ourselves, take care of our HP, and block for the cleric so they can do the same. Let's get down to the stat block. For today's Ancestry, of all the things we're building around today, it's going to be on a dwarf. I know I'm using the iconic spiritualist's art, but yeah, it is what it is. Use your imagination and pretend she's a dwarf, because we really want extra HP and a con buff, and some dwarf ancestry feats, because I am concerned that 10 hit points split amongst 2 characters, though it is a lot, will drop pretty darn fast. And I suppose that's the first thing I would change about the summoner from playtest to real, is maybe if we're going to do this, the summoner ought to have 12 hit points. It ought to have as much as the barbarian. Is that a lot? Yeah, but it's not a lot when it's divided by 2. The summoner has to jump through a lot of hoops to be as combat proficient as the barbarian anyway, so it's not like you will have created another crazy frontliner independently. You've rather just got 2 people on one pool who are trying to survive together. Ancient Blooded is the Ancestry, as it's still pretty much the best one. For our background, something with con and strength. And for our starting ability scores, we're looking at a strength of not as much as I would like, because I did use my extra ability to take away the Chaw egg from the dwarf. A strength of 14, dex of 12, con of 16, int of 10, whiz of 12, chaw of 16. If your campaign uses any alternate means of generating ability scores, like having an additional flaw for boosts, rolling for stats, a point buy, this can probably come out a little better. I just build on the standard because I assume standard is what most people are using. For our class feats right out the gate, at level 2, as soon as we get a chance to be right out the gate, a champion dedication. Our champion dedication will be the Paladin's Cause, and honestly, as I sit here and look at this, lawful good, simple weapons, really heavily associated with helping spirits find rest. This character has Tsukio written all over it. I now need someone to GM a long-form campaign for me, where I can play this character and help my long-lost brother who got killed in some war somewhere find peace while also doing sweet Shadow of War things. I get really attached to these characters as I build them, it turns out. This, of course, gets us proficiency in light, medium, and heavy armor. Super clutch for the summoner because, again, we don't have a lot of dex and we're trying to not get hit. At 4th level, tandem move. For one action, you and your eidolon move together with ease. You and your eidolon each use a single action to stride. Either of you that has the corresponding movement can burrow, climb, fly, or swim, of course. And when we pair this with the act together action once per round, for one action, you and the eidolon both perform an action, it kind of still has that flavor of I have haste faster than everybody else. I'm not sure if the tandem trait is a trait that can only be used once per round. I'm assuming no. This just helps make sure you and the eidolon can move within reaction range of each other, can move into flanks to strike, can function without being as screwed on the map as like rangers and druids can be. Speaking of reaction, next up we will take our champion's reaction for Retributive Strike. Of course, an enemy damages your ally, both are within 15 feet of you. You protect your ally and strike your foe. They gain resistance to all damage equal to 2 plus your level, and if they're within reach, you can bop them. Combining that with Dutiful Strike makes a really interesting sort of shield wall. Let's say you're fighting the boss monster. It's you, the rogue, and your eidolon in melee, and you've got like a cleric and archer focused fighter behind you or something. If the boss chooses to attack you and it gets real scary, you can Dutiful Strike as a reaction. If they attack your eidolon or the rogue, you can Retributive Strike to give them resistance and then still do damage. It ensures the coverage is spread across the line, and again, comboing this with like tandem move and stuff allows you to make sure you and the eidolon are in the right position on the board for maximum coverage. Next, since we'll probably be burning through focus points real fast, as this class can very well Nova to buff out the eidolon, Desperate Prayer. As a free action, once per day, you begin your turn and have no focus points in your pool. Hey Tsukio, can I have a bonus focus point? And you get 1. Probably the best champion feat out of the Advanced Player's Guide for real. Dawns on me I need to make some evil champions, don't I? I forgot that existed, what with everything else going on. Healing Touch right after that so we can continue to burn the hell out of our focus points and get another point in the pool for Lay on Hands. As much as I want to make the big badass warrior and his big badass ghost warrior best friend killing everybody forever, the eidolon will almost certainly outclass us, and we will have a little bit of a time keeping up with like the rest of the marshals on the front line. So a lot of our turn is almost certainly spent just put the hit point pool back to let the eidolon do the thing. Honestly, this kind of feels like the first edition Oridin, I'm not gonna lie. Random sidebar before we go on, I think I'm very interested in a class that can archetype into Summoner for an Eidolon to help make this build a little more realized. When Secrets of Magic comes out for realsies, that's almost certainly what I'm building. Next up at level 12, Summoner's Call. As a reaction, if your Eidolon is manifested and more than 5 feet away, with the trigger you or your Eidolon takes damage, you teleport your Eidolon instantly from their previous location to an open space adjacent to you. Oh no, my Eidolon's getting its ass kicked, but I really needed to provide a flank so the rogue could have a sneak attack crit. That attack's gonna put me really close to dead though. Whoop, Summoner's Call. Get out of range after you no longer need that range. To make it even better, at 14th, Resilient Evolution gives the Eidolon resistance to physical damage equal to their con mod. Weird that the Ghost has a con mod, but I guess we're ignoring that. Winged Evolution at level 16, I think that one speaks volumes on its own. Flying is very powerful. Let's help our friend do it. Then at 18th, Twin Eidolon. You can transform yourself to match your Eidolon. When you manifest your Eidolon, in addition to their normal manifestation, you can call upon their power to transform yourself into an exact duplicate of your Eidolon until the Eidolon becomes unmanifested. You can't use this if you manifest your Eidolon in an unusual way, as if you were a synthesist. While a duplicate of your Eidolon, you use your Eidolon's stats other than your mental ability modifiers, including their evolutions. You cannot cast spells, activate or benefit from magic items that normally benefit you and not your Eidolon, or use other actions your Eidolon can't normally perform. Any spells you cast with a limited number of uses count against your Eidolon's uses. Now, the Eidolon's ability scores advance at the same rate as the PC's. This feat basically says, I'd like to have better proficiency with strikes. I'm gonna be this guy today. Lastly, I do like Eidolon's Avatar and Eternal Boost both, but I think Quick Block is just a little more useful in the end game, presumably against one dungeon or boss fight, just to have that extra reaction to block with your shield. For our Ancestry feats, these are actually a little more relevant than they usually are. First up, Unburdened Iron, so when we do land in Plate Mail, we don't slow ourselves down. At 5th level, I really wanted this to be Halfling Luck, but I needed to take the shield block reaction sooner so we can be that frontline warrior and not be just screwing around, you know? And so I am leaving the 5th level feat open for player's choice. The dwarf has a lot of cool ancestry feats and were not adopted by halflings quite yet. You, the player, will know better than I what is useful here for you. Do you need to be able to move through rocky terrain? Cool. Worried about being frightened? Dwarven Dowdiness will help with that. Going into dungeons a lot, stone cutting's real good, but all of these are less good in environments where they're not readily usable. You will know better than me. Halfling Luck at level 9, because I still put that just a little bit higher up the chain than Mountain Stoutness, but Mountain Stoutness along with Toughness is super important for our build. Again, because we are splitting the HP 2 ways, it's just super important to stack on as much as possible. And then Guiding Luck, you knew you'd see it. General feats, Shield Block. You need your HP, get that shield up, adopted by halflings so you can not lose HP to bad saves. Then Toughness and Die Hard, because honestly, I recently had somebody comment and be like, why do you always take Toughness and Die Hard? These feel really bad. They feel really bad until you get crit in the face with a great axe and you're on the ground. Say it till them blue in the face. When we're splitting our HP 2 ways, we're probably going to circle that drain that much more. Have insurance, don't die. Then Canny Acumen for our worst save, which is Reflex. Next up, we got 4 spells from the Occult list that are super good for this build. Of course, you knew you'd see it. And it's actually a spell granted by Tsukio. That's interesting. Soothe is the Occult caster's heal. D10 plus 4 and a plus 2 status bonus to saves against mental effects. It goes up as you heighten it. For 2 actions, you heal yourself to keep the pool up and then use a tandem action so you and the Eidolon can both stab in. Again, just big Oridin vibes throughout this whole thing. The Angelic Summoner probably looks even better because they have heal on their spell list, but again, I just been playing a lot of Shadow War, had to make it happen. True Strike will always be good. Anybody who has it on their spell list should probably memorize it. Roll with advantage means you're almost certain to roll 15 or better. Get that crit, get that stab, or in our case, just make sure we can even hit when the Eidolon, who has a better weapon proficiency than us, has used up most of the map. Alternatively, much like our Oracle did, and follow this card right up here if you missed that one, Spiritual Weapon will help us cheat the fact that we are a martial character who has pretty good spell attack rolls but not great weapon attack rolls. Man, if you could fit a Witch Dedication in here, that would be even better. Bonus points if you flavor text it as like a weird, quasi-realistic, obviously smaller and fading around version of your Eidolon. And of course, would we be summoners if I didn't say, hey, make sure you take haste. Make sure the Eidolon stays quickened so it's beating people to death ghost style. Now this is pretty good. This looks really fun, it looks really strong. There are a couple of things I would change though. First and foremost, like I said, if we're gonna be splitting the hit points 2 ways, 12 not 10 is probably the way to go. I imagine a lot of summoners are going to be eating the dirt and doing push-ups throughout the playtest just because they accidentally overextended themselves. Smart bad guys will know targeting you will make your summon thing go away. Heavy armor will help hedge our bets. So too will our reactions. Secondly, of course, the spells and the fact that we get less of them is not the best. I think we should get an equal amount and level 10 spells just like everybody else did. Feels a little off-brand for 2nd edition trying to level the playing field for casters. And most of us aren't going to play our characters long enough to see 10th level magic anyway, so why not give them that value? In any case, I'm still pretty in love with this. That's all the time I have for this one. What do y'all think? Have we rolled up the summoner? How are we feeling about it? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Next week on Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, well, you know, the channel turned 3 last month. We probably ought to talk about that a little alongside my very first character I ever played. The character for whom my channel is named, we'll talk about him and make Mahariel the Elven Dragon Disciple in 2nd edition Pathfinder. I'll see y'all then.